Hello, beautiful people. This is Jasmine, and you are watching Web3 Ladies Club. Today, we're going to talk about building a team for your NFT project. So this video is going to consist of two parts. Part one is me talking about what I see as typical roles or skills that are required for an NFT project, while part two will be me interviewing Maddie from Angel Alliance, who has successfully built a solid team around her for the project. So starting off with the typical roles. Role number one is project manager. You're gonna need someone who will be pulling the whole team together, someone who makes sure that everything is being executed according to the timeline, according to what has been promised to the public, as well as just make sure everyone within the team are collaborating in the right way and have the right amount of information for them to move forward. Role number two will be the artist or artists. So a typical NFT project will consist of a lot of different layers that are eventually generated into different NFT artworks. And the artist essentially needs to create the different layers, which basically, normally are PNG files that are like partially transparent that can be eventually layered on top of each other to create an image. Which means that the artist needs to not only know how to create the layers themselves, be it using Procreate, Illustrator, some digital tool, or first creating it physically and then making it digital, but also understand how the layering logic work and therefore be able to produce art accordingly so that eventually, for example, you have 10 layers per NFT randomly generated, that the layers can actually fit together well and make up good looking NFT pieces. Role number three will be a generative code developer. So you might have heard me say this already, but an NFT collection, let's say that consists of 10,000 pieces, you're not going to ask your artist to do 10,000 pieces. You normally have the artist produce the different layers, and then those layers will be thrown into a generative code that eventually produces all of the NFTs. So let's say you have the background, the person, the hair, the clothes, the lip, the eyes, and so on. These are all individual layers, and they can be mixed and matched via a code, and you need that someone who's able to program that code for you. Role number four, smart contract developer. So unless you're going directly via the interface of some secondary market, for example, OpenSea, to launch your collection, which normally is not the way to go for bigger collections, you need someone to develop your smart contract for you. And depending on which blockchain you'll be minting on, your smart contract developer will need to know that particular language. So for example, for Ethereum Polygon, it is Solidity as a programming language. Role number five will be web developer. So you're gonna wanna have some sort of website for your NFT project to just showcase what it's all about, what's the roadmap, who's in the team, what's the price, so on and so forth. And for that, you will need a website. You can go to those typical website providers such as Wix or Squarespace, where you can easily design your own website. But normally for bigger projects, you do need a minting site where people can connect their wallets on and be able to directly purchase your NFT from the primary market. Role number six, social media manager. So if you want to launch an NFT project, you most definitely will need to have some sort of presence on social media, which includes Twitter, most importantly, but also Instagram, perhaps TikTok, maybe YouTube, and so on. And you will need someone to manage those platforms or those social media accounts and remain active on those accounts. That would include producing and posting content, interacting with other projects, interacting with your following, so on and so forth. Role number seven, marketer. You're gonna need someone who increases the reach of your project. And that could just be, being active on social media, but also, for example, joining podcasts, doing Twitter spaces, as well as any other marketing campaign. Role number eight, the relationship manager. So depending on what you're doing with your project, depending on what mission, what goal your project has, you might need to or want to reach out to some established brands out there, to collaborate with them, to discuss deals with them for your community. So you definitely want someone who's able to do that. Row number 9, community manager. So you're gonna want someone or some people who can kind of take care of the community, make sure that everyone has their questions answered, but also that your community is interacting with each other, maybe via hosting events, and just all in all, keeping the community alive. Row number 10, and I think this one's not talked about often enough, and that is the back-end admin work. You're gonna need to sort through the legal basis, the accounting, the tax considerations, as well as any document archiving, legal contract archiving of your project. It's very important, and therefore you need to have someone, or at least a part of someone's time, that is dedicated to taking care of these. Last but not least, I'm gonna throw a row number 11, which is other, into the mix. Depending on what you want to do with your NFT project, you might want to have some other skill sets in your team. For example, if you want to develop a game in the metaverse, then you might want to have some game developers lined up, just to make sure that what you're promising to the public, for example, is achievable. If not, already start building on what you aim to provide. Now, all of what I just mentioned don't need to necessarily be individuals. You can have a project with the size of 15 to 20 people, but you can also have ones that are consisting of 3 people. It really depends on the size of your project, what you want to achieve with your project, as well as whether your team members already possess a variety of different skill sets that are required. Now that we've gone through the basics, I'm going to switch over to the interview with Maddie so we can learn from her experience of building the team for Angel Alliance.